You know, after 43 years on this bench, I've seen despair walk through those courtroom doors in every shape and form, people who've lost jobs, homes, loved ones, hope itself. But on that freezing January morning in Detroit, a woman who had literally lost everything the day before stepped forward, begging for mercy in a voice so small, so broken, that it pierced straight through the robe and into my soul. What happened next wasn't just a ruling, it was savage, it was unrelenting, and when the gavel came down, she didn't just cry, she shattered right there in front of us all. This wasn't a routine fine or a landlord dispute. This was a woman who had buried her only child the previous afternoon, come home to an eviction notice on her door, and now faced me for a bench warrant over unpaid court fees from years earlier. The plea for mercy? It came from a place so raw it forced everyone, including me, to confront whether justice can ever truly be blind when grief is screaming. Before I take you step by agonizing step through that morning, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, click it and drop a comment telling me, have you ever begged for mercy when life had already taken everything? You're going to need tissues for this one. I've been a circuit court judge in Wayne County, Michigan since 1982. That's 43 years of hearing the worst days of people's lives and trying, God knows I try, to balance the scales with both law and heart. Every morning I wake at 5:30, make my oatmeal the same way my grandmother did, plain, no sugar, just enough to keep me going, and drive through the dark streets reminding myself that the people in my courtroom aren't numbers. They're human beings at their lowest. My clerk, Denise, who's been with me for 24 years, knows the signs of a heavy day. That January morning, she met me at the door with a quiet, "Judge, the first case, it's bad. She's here on a warrant. Lost her daughter yesterday. Funeral was yesterday afternoon." I read the file in silence. Name, Carla Reynolds, 48. Bench warrant for failure to appear on old traffic fines totaling $1,200 plus fees. The warrant had been active for 3 years, but attached was a handwritten note from the bailiff who processed her that morning. She's in shock, just buried her kid, begging not to go to jail. I felt my stomach turn. I closed the file and said to Denise, call her case first. I don't want her waiting. The courtroom was half empty. There was a few regulars, some folks waiting on their own tickets, the usual low hum of anxiety. At 9:05, Denise announced, Carla Reynolds, warrant 23 CR 1897. A woman rose from the back row like she was moving through water. She wore a black coat 2 sizes too big, the same one she'd probably worn to the funeral, hair pulled back messily, eyes swollen and red. She walked to the front with slow, careful steps, hands clasped so tight her knuckles were white. When she reached the podium, she looked up at me and whispered, Your Honor, please, I can't go to jail. Not today. I kept my voice gentle. Ms. Reynolds, you're here on an active bench warrant for failure to appear and unpaid fines from 2020. The amount now is $1,845 with fees. Do you understand why you're here? She nodded, tears already spilling. Yes, ma'am, but yesterday, my daughter Keisha, she was 19, car accident on the freeway. They called me at 3 a.m. I got to the hospital. She was already gone. Her voice cracked, and she pressed a hand to her mouth. The funeral was yesterday at 2 p.m. I came straight here this morning because the sheriff showed up at the cemetery gate with the warrant, said I had to appear today or they'd take me in. The room went dead quiet. You could hear the radiator clicking. I glanced at the prosecutor, a young assistant DA who looked as shaken as I felt. Your Honor, he said quietly, the state is not seeking jail time today, but the warrant requires resolution. We can convert to a payment plan if she qualifies. I turned back to Carla. Ms. Reynolds, tell me more. Why didn't you appear back in 2020? She wiped her eyes with the sleeve of that oversized coat. I was working 2 jobs then, cleaning offices at night, waitressing days. Keisha was 15, helping with her little brother. The tickets were for expired tags and no insurance. I couldn't pay. I was scared. I thought if I ignored it, it'd go away. Stupid, I know that now. But after Keisha's dad left us, it was just me and the kids. I kept falling behind. She paused, breathing hard. Then last year, Keisha got sick. Lupus, hospital bills piled up. I lost one job, then the other. Landlord evicted us 2 months ago. We were staying with my sister. Yesterday, after the funeral, I came home and found the eviction notice final. Everything's gone. Clothes, pictures, Keisha's things. They changed the locks while we were at the cemetery. I have nowhere to go tonight. And now this warrant. If you send me to jail, my son, he's 14, he'll be alone. Please, Your Honor. Mercy. Just one day. Let me bury my baby in peace. Tears were streaming down her face now, silent and steady. The gallery was frozen, no shuffling, no whispers. I felt my own eyes burn. I've lost people, I know that hollow ache, but this losing a child, then home, then freedom in the span of 24 hours, it was too much. Let me stop right here. Have you ever felt the world pile on when you were already on your knees? Drop a comment right now and tell me, what would you have said if you were standing where Carla was? And if this is tearing at you, hit that like button, because what I'm about to say next changed the entire direction of that morning. I looked at the prosecutor. Counsel, the state has no objection to a stay? He shook his head. None, Your Honor. Given the circumstances, we're open to dismissal or conversion. I turned back to Carla. Ms. Reynolds, the law says a bench warrant must be addressed. Normally, you'd be remanded until resolved, but I see a mother who has already paid more than any fine could demand. I leaned forward. I'm going to be very clear. What I'm about to do is not mercy in the soft sense. It's justice, the hard, savage kind that looks at suffering and refuses to add to it. I picked up my pen, wrote quickly on the file. The warrant is recalled. The underlying fines and fees are suspended indefinitely. No payment required until you are back on your feet, and only then if you can afford it without sacrificing basics. The court will issue an order staying any collection for 3 years, renewable if needed. Carla stared, not comprehending at first. Your Honor, I continued, voice firm. Furthermore, I'm ordering the county sheriff to escort you to your former residence today. They will supervise retrieval of your personal belongings, Keisha's things, your son's clothes, everything. If the landlord refuses, they will enforce it. And I'm placing a temporary restraining order on any further eviction action until social services can find you emergency housing. The prosecutor nodded. Carla's knees buckled slightly. She gripped the podium. Tears poured. I don't know what to say. I softened just a fraction. You don't have to say anything, but listen to me, Carla. This isn't a free pass. It's a lifeline. Use it. Get help. Grief counseling, job placement, housing assistance. The court clerk will give you every resource we have. Your son needs you whole. Don't let this break you completely. She sobbed openly now, deep, wrenching cries that echoed off the walls. Not just sadness, relief, gratitude, the kind that comes when someone sees you drowning and throws a rope instead of another weight. The gallery was crying too, strangers wiping eyes, a man in the back row nodding like he'd been there. I banged the gavel gently. Case resolved. Ms. Reynolds, you're free to go. Denise will walk you out and help with the paperwork. As Carla turned, still shaking, several people stood and approached her, quiet offers of hugs, a phone number scribbled on paper, a promise to drive her to the shelter, small acts of humanity in a room built for judgment. 3 months later, Carla wrote me a letter. Judge, that day I thought my life was over. You didn't just save me from jail. You gave me time to breathe, to grieve, to fight back. I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment now. My son is in school. I started a part-time job at a community center helping other grieving moms. Keisha would be proud. Thank you for the savage mercy that saved us. And me? I keep that letter in my desk drawer, a reminder that sometimes the toughest ruling isn't the harshest one. It's the one that refuses to crush what's already broken. Stories like this carve themselves into you. Life can take everything in a heartbeat, but justice, real justice, can give back a sliver of hope. It's never soft. Sometimes it's fierce, unyielding, savage in its refusal to add pain to pain. If this moved you, if you believe mercy can be as powerful as punishment, hit that like button, subscribe for more courtroom truths that hit hard, and share this with someone who's begging for a break. Comment below. Have you ever witnessed or received mercy when you thought it was impossible? Thank you for listening. God bless. Justice isn't always blind. Sometimes it sees the tears, the loss, the humanity, and chooses grace. Check the next video. Another raw moment from the bench is waiting. Take care of each other. You never know who's carrying more than they can show.